Boom, 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 boom. Oh no. This is the steering wheel, y'all, not the wax on, the wax off. That was the steering wheel for our car ride we just went on.
Oh, I like it. Like a
Uh,
new Women Connected in Wisdom dance move, the steering.
yeah,
So when we travel around the country doing book signings.
yeah,
All right.
exactly.
All right, I like it.
Thank you. I've been working on it. How are you doing today?
I am well. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm super excited about the meeting we had earlier, and seeing the possibilities, playing with possibilities, as you always say, and just getting connected to more women. That's been one of my favorite things of Women Connected in Wisdom is the different industries that I thought about being part of in college and how I get to get connected and I don't have to be the expert. I can lift up these experts and still play in the part that I love to do.
Right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that on the way home. I love a good lunch meeting.
Hmm.
Like, there's just something fun about connecting over food, good food,
Yeah.
um, giving a shout out. Do you want to give a shout out to where we were today, local eatery?
Yes, yes. So local Green Atlanta was amazing. I used to pass it every day. I told you guys I was working at Topgolf last year and the food was amazing. I had been trying to figure out how to do jackfruit. Y'all, when I did it at home, nope, we took it off the menu. Tried it once, we were like, we tried it, it's in the trash. But they did it well. It was, seasoned great. I love a good coleslaw. The bun was great, fries were great. Great drink. I love Lizzo and the Flutes. We shout out to the band nerds all the time. So supported with the Lizzo lemonade and it was good.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Super fun. I really loved how cute it was in there. Like,
Oh, I
there
love
was
the
cute
decor.
decorations. We'll have to post a picture on our
I
social
did post
media
it.
because
Actually,
okay, cool.
yep. Posted it on my personal one. And I love the greenery, especially again at Top Golf, looking at the green. When I was looking at the golf course, I was like, oh, I get it. Looking at the green just immediately calms you. It for me, it takes me to a certain place, so walking in and seeing the beautiful greenery, nice space, it was comfortable. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was super fun. Great
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yes, thank you
Really
so
good.
much.
At first, I thought it was going to be all vegan, but they have pescatarian options too. So
Mhm.
I had the salmon bowl. It was really
Yeah. It smelled great.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Should we do our official intro and kick the show off?
Let's do it. Hi, ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling author, the founder of Shalo Glow, an all natural handmade personal products company that helps women with dry skin glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your self care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all, I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, Amazon best-selling author, and
Yes.
dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week and have intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. And we love to bring on expert guests like our guest today and just have these conversations because, how do we do this? How do we do
So
it?
important, especially with what we're talking about today, right? Emotional and mental wellness. When I think about it, I think about my degree in psychology. And a lot of people ask me, like, when are you going to work in psychology? You're talking about wellness, you've been in restaurants. And for me, what I always tell people is that I'm dealing with psychology whether I'm by myself or with other people, right? So it's not always just therapy and sessions. I thought about that. I love now having social workers and different people on the team, like I said, in Women Connected in Wisdom. But this is still doing that for me, helping us balance it and give clarity to the things that we have access to and the resources that we can plug in to kind of bridge the gap between our weaknesses. That helps me with my psychology and emotional and mental wellness overall.
Right. Well, I know you and I were having the conversation the other day over at Connect and Wisdom Press about how many authors are writing on emotional and mental wellness because that
Hmm.
has been so real this year, really the past 3 years. I
Yeah.
think that you and I, we may have said it last week. I can't remember if we said it on air or not, but
Mhm.
everybody I know, client, personal, in our community, they're dealing with like 3 to 5 major things right now.
Yeah.
It's not even like one major thing, but there's so much grief and loss. There's so much world stuff going on. There's so much family stuff going on that it is this piece, emotional and mental wellness, I think is I don't want to shut us, but I
Okay.
think prioritization may be needed this year for emotional and
Absolutely.
mental wellness. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk to our guest about it today and her expertise in the field she's in and what
Mhm.
she's creating with her company. Do you
Absolutely.
want me to give our listeners the definition of emotional and mental wellness?
Yes, please.
All right, y'all. So, emotional and mental wellness is about being aware and intentional of our feelings in all situations. It includes having the capacity and tools to handle and express these emotions in a healthy manner and the ability to learn and grow from experience. Emotional well being encourages autonomy, useful decision making skills, and striving towards good mental health. I love the striving towards it because, sometimes we don't have it, like depending on what's going on, right?
Yes. Yes. And I've had to add something else in, right? Because I shared the story from middle school of how I realized I was getting depressed and not as happy as I thought I could be, right? Even given the circumstances. And I had to start inserting at least one laugh a day. That worked, right? And we laugh, we do a great job at that now. But I kind of started feeling that way again. And I said, you know what? I need to do a daily dance break. And so I've been dancing, at least I said, oh, you know what? I like that song. And instead of just saying it in my head, I'll physically dance. And I think about you and interplay and how you move it through your body and, dance and play in the midst of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the tools I have used with my clients for years. Like if you're stuck or you're feeling stuck or feeling blue or like all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
One of the easiest things, in addition to breathing, we always talk about taking a deep breath, right? Whew. But the next thing is to put on a piece of music and move. And
Yes.
you can move in your chair, you can move with your head, you can imagine yourself moving if you can
Mm.
full body. Like the
Yeah.
bigger the energy, the bigger the movement. And not to impress people, not to be filmed, just to move. And it's amazing how much that can shift your emotional and mental wellness.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Even the, being aware, when you walk us through the practice of putting your hand somewhere on your body that feels great, and
mhm,
then put it somewhere else where you might be experiencing a little pain. I do that emotionally. Like, okay, over here, I'm great. Amazing book
mhm,
signing. We did great. I'm great right here. Right over here. Okay, noticing instead of judging what's going on here. Is it mine? Can I better something? Do I need to have a conversation? Is it
right,
something that's not to give anybody else and I need to journal about it and let it go, give it to God? Like, where does it need to go? Sorting and separating, like you talk about in Still Point, is made it easy to be more consciously aware of where I am mentally and emotionally too.
right. I love that. I was talking to one of our authors from Volume One the other day, and she's writing a whole book herself right
Yeah.
now, and she was stuck on
Mm,
something.
mm,
And we were talking about using it in work also, because she's a dancer, Dr. Sheila
yeah.
K. Collins. And
Yeah.
I said, "Are you dancing this out?" And she
Ooh.
said, "What do you mean?" And I said,
Mm,
If you're open to this recommendation, like I would recommend you put on a piece before you sit down with your chapter because she's wrestling with some editing and some
yeah.
tough stuff, right? And
Yes.
I said, light your candle because y'all know I love candles and the
Yeah.
ritual things when I'm doing something big. And light your candle, put on a song, and dance.
Hmm.
Then sit down to edit.
I'm
Then
gonna do that.
right.
I'm gonna do that today because I need to finish my chapter.
All
Dance it
right.
out. Yeah.
I love
And
it.
and it's interesting too. We talk about community care, and we can bring on an expert after. Um, that you had to remind the dancer. Like she wrote about dancing, and you said, "Hey, have you danced this
Pretty
out?"
dance, right?
Yeah. And
Well, I think
sometimes it's that mirror.
that's that beautiful thing about being in community, right?
Yeah.
That we remind each other of our gifts, of our light, of our song. Have you
Yes.
seen that meme before? Like we remind each other of our song when we've forgotten. And I think
Mhm.
that is when we're in the midst of hard stuff, which a lot of us are right now, we
Yeah.
remind ourselves, we remind each other of our gifts and what we want to lift up for each other and
Yes.
to shine it right back on each other.
It's been so helpful.
I love it. Are you
Yeah.
ready to bring on our guest? I am
Let's
so
do it.
excited.
Me too.
Before
Okay.
we bring her on, real quick, I want to shout
Yes.
out to everybody that's listening today. If you are listening and you want to comment, whatever platform you're listening on, if you're listening on LinkedIn, if you're listening
Mhm.
on Facebook, if you're listening on YouTube, if you put a
Yes.
comment in, we can lift up your voice. If you have a question for our guest, if you just want to give some shout outs, feel free, put it in the comments, and we're happy to share it with everybody. So,
Yes.
all
Yes.
right, I'm excited. You want to introduce her?
Yes, let's do it. Okay, guys. So today our expert is Michelle Steele, and Michelle is a nurse and is currently studying to be an herbalist. Excuse me, to be an herbalist. She is also an entrepreneur and the co-creator of Beautiful, Butufu. I actually need to ask you, Michelle, when you come on, how to pronounce that. We're going to correct it for you guys. Excuse me. She loves educating my. She loves educating people about health and wellness. So we're super excited to have her on for emotional and mental wellness. Welcome, Michelle. Michelle, welcome.
Hey, thank you. How y'all doing?
Great. Please help me with this stumble on your name, on your business name, so we can
Got it.
start it off correctly.
It is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much.
Uh,
So, we are super excited to have you. I remember meeting you at Le Meridian, right? You were there for the conference, and I was really proud of you as a nurse for working on your professional development in the
mhm.
middle of everything that you've been working on. So, how have you been recently? Share what's been working for you for emotional and mental wellness.
Oh, okay. So right now, I currently I've been travel nursing for years now, and I just decided to take a break from it. Okay, because mentally I was drained, and and I was like, I can't let the cares of this world and different things like that drag me down because it can. So I decided to take a break, and I was like,
So proud of you.
yeah, I had no other choice because it
Yeah.
was like either I did it willingly or my body was gonna do it involuntarily. So so yeah, like right now I'm just pretty much spending time with my family and putting more of me into my business. So I definitely recommend when your body is telling you to take a break, take a break.
Yes.
Take a break.
And
Yeah.
can I just say, I want to, before we go any further,
Mhm.
thank you for being a travel nurse because I can only
Yes.
imagine how tough the last couple of years have been.
Oh gosh.
And it is not surprising to me that you needed to stop and pause. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
most welcome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, especially with being a travel nurse, right? Can you
Mhm.
say more about, hi Tahar, we see you. Can you say more about how you balance it, right? Because being a nurse by itself, a travel nurse on top of that, and then helping manage your household, right? Helping manage your business. What is it that you do right now to, so you said time with your family, right? You said
Mhm.
taking time off, but
Mhm.
what does that look like with you spending more time in your business? Because that might not necessarily mean more downtime.
Mhm. So, for me, what really helps prayer, of course, for everything. I couldn't do it without it, and to have a great support system like my husband and my children. Oh my gosh,
Mm,
they helped me for everything. So, if I didn't have that, I don't know how I would be able to do the things that I do. So,
yes.
yeah, that's really what gets me going.
Hello. And
So,
shout out to the support system and the families
mhm.
behind all the travel nurses and the entrepreneurs too.
Mhm.
Because even as a solopreneur, we know the time is pulled and partnerships. Christina and I talk about it all the time and what's needed when you're not two places at once, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have beautiful.
Mhm.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
get it. Can you tell us about what led you to starting that business?
So I had been kind of dabbling in doing skincare products before, and
Okay.
my children just came like, "Mom, let's make a clothing line." I'm all like, "Hey, let's do it." Say less.
Yes, yes,
Let's get it. Where do we start?
right.
So then we're like, okay, we're doing this and researching and stuff like that. And then as we're doing it though, I'm like, wait a minute, a lot of people have stuff when it comes to the family, the husbands, the wives, the children, but not for our pets. and those are our babies too. So I'm like, we
Absolutely.
got to incorporate it all together. So we all kind of sat down, brainstormed, had our meetings and stuff like that, and decided to just kind of go from there. Like, okay, we're gonna do the apparel, the skincare, and the pet care, all together.
I love it.
And then so we just came up with the name just literally during Bible study. And it just came in my head, and it was like so strong in my spirit. It was like, this is what you should be calling this business. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Didn't do it yet. Took two
Hmm.
months. And finally, when I did it, that feeling went away. But yeah, so that's
Right?
where it came from. Yeah.
Well, and I remember, Michelle, we met at the Black Beauty Expo, and you
Hmm.
were one of the only booths. It caught my attention
Yes.
because of doing products and holistic and natural products
Hmm.
for the animals. And then
Hmm.
you and I were having a conversation, I think your husband was there too,
Yes.
about the emotional and mental support that
Hmm.
animals give us,
Yeah.
right? And that you giving that back and it being reciprocal, and it really was beautiful, like the name
Hmm.
of your business.
Exactly. See,
Like,
it just does.
it really
It
does.
does. Uh huh.
It
Yeah.
does. And then so for me, we talk about women connected in wisdom, right?
Hmm.
Christine was there, of course, because she supports amazing brands that like the
Yeah.
brands that come to Black Beauty Expo, but she was also coming to support me, right?
Uh
So
huh.
when I think about just the maintaining of the wellness and the environmental needs, right? People that support you, people
Hmm.
who, like, if I'm at my table taking care of my guests, Christine
Hmm.
is going around meeting people for
Exactly.
Women Connected to Wisdom. I'm like, I
Yes.
love Christine so much. Her
Oh
and
yeah.
Cecile came,
Kind of
and
stand
Yes.
out at that
girl,
expo, by the
Yes.
way.
yeah,
Huh?
and, and, and we do. What are you gonna say, Michelle?
No, I was saying she was just so. She was like, "Hold on, you wait." She looked at my bed and she's like, "You have pet products? Oh, you have to
Yep.
meet Shannon. You'll have to meet her." I was like, "Well, let's meet her. Where is she?"
Yes. Yes. And I love that Christine is genuinely like that. Again, we talk about the shea butter, but before it was with Scad and Sweet Auburn work, she is
Mhm.
helping me have the table to be at the markets, gave me the tablecloth to put the products on. So
Right.
us connecting each other in this way and supporting in this way has been huge for my emotional and mental wellness as
Mhm.
our time goes ebbs and flows in the business, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I love pets too, and I don't have one right now. I'll say I don't have a live one. We have like a stuffed pet. We have a jaguar that's like in a painting, Lipa, okay? We have a little lizard that's like beaded, that's Dex,
Uh-huh.
okay? Um, but it still helps, even
Right.
though they're not running up to me when I open the door and things like
Mhm.
that. It's interesting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's about the because even teddy bear, I used to love teddy bears. If somebody gave me a teddy bear, I just love it. But
Yeah.
it's just how a pet like kind of is nurturing in a way.
Hmm.
Cause it's like they'll come up to you and give you a. They might not wrap their arms around you, but it's a
Right.
hug to where they
They
feel like,
know.
oh, you loved.
Yes.
You loved. The
Yes.
whole licking thing and everything. Sometimes they can get carried away with that too, but they definitely kind of feel that void sometimes when you're kind of going through different things and stuff like that,
Yes.
and just to kind of be there. A lot of times in the hospitals we have pets, especially dogs, come as therapy dogs. So
Yes.
it's just something that they do. And
Hmm.
it's just like, they're there for therapy.
I love that emotional and mental support. When
Hmm.
my kids were in elementary school, we had a firefighter that would bring these giant dogs. I'm trying to remember what kind they were. They weren't the, oh, I'm gonna screw up on. I mean, but they were one of the big ones, right? And
Okay.
they had them as support dogs, and they would come, and the kids would read to them, especially
Hmm.
the kids that were struggling with reading. It was
Okay.
so
Or
magical, right?
yes. Uh-huh.
Because they felt supported and not judged, and these
Right.
dogs would just sit and watch them.
Oh
It
yeah.
was amazing.
Oh yeah.
I love that idea.
Hmm.
It's interesting that you say that too, Christine. I was thinking about the posters I used to like at school. I used to love the read posters, right?
Hmm.
Now it makes sense as an author and a publisher, but then I was just like, these are my favorite posters. So
Uh-huh.
to think about the children who need to practice reading to
Hmm.
a pet, that is a great idea.
Hmm.
Hadn't thought about it. So go ahead. Did you have a comment?
I
I
have a question for Michelle.
okay.
So
Go
you're
ahead and I'll go after you.
as an herbalist, And we were talking pre-show about you've moved out to the country and
Oh yes.
like what is your favorite thing as you're studying towards herbalism? Like what has surprised you the most or when you think about emotional and mental wellness, when you think about the eight dimensions of wellness, like
Mhm,
how do you see that fitting in? And just tell us a little more about that because I know our listeners are fascinated by herbalism and
mhm.
healthy products.
So one of the things that kind of got me like, wow, is like for years, decades when we were younger. So they will always say, like, the weeds and stuff, spray this on your lawn and stuff and get rid of this and different things like that. But as I'm out here, I see just random things just pop up. And I'm like, they're beneficial for your health. Like, of course, dandelions, they grow in a lot of people's yards, and I know everybody see the different benefits dandelions have. And for all those years they told us, like, hey, get rid of these. But out here we have literally, I wish I could walk y'all over there, but we literally have a huge mullein plant, and that's good for like your respiratory system. And then we have like burdock root coming on, that's good for your digestive system and different things. And it's a whole lot of different things that just grows wild out here, and a lot of stuff we don't know, and we just kind of learning it as we go. um I know one time my cousin, she had saw this thing. It's not like a four-leaf clover or whatever, but in the yard it was just growing, and she went smash it down. Her son got bit or stung by a bee, and she put it on there. It was healed the next day. It's like a lot of stuff that we've been taught to get rid of. It is really good for us, and we really have to research what pops up in our yards.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I had a friend one time that was an herbalist, and this lesson has always stuck with me. She
Mhm.
said that she always walks around her yard,
Mhm.
see what's popping up, because
Mhm.
invariably, like Mother Nature is supplying what she's going to need.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And different seasons, different things pop up, but different years, different things
Oh yeah.
pop up, and it's fascinating to me because
Mhm.
I do it now. It does make me a little nervous, I will say, when something pops up for like respiratory or something, especially after the last 2 years. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Exactly.
am I really going to need that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Listen, put it up because you never know.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they want to put it up, what do they do?
So as far as the mullein, um,
Yes.
has it drying out now. So what we're gonna try, y'all, we just trying this out. We got
Okay.
a dehydrator, so we're gonna kind of put it in there, let some of it dry out, and
Hmm.
then kind of put it in a coffee grinder and put it in a little jar, and then make it like a tea.
I think that's a great idea. I
Mhm.
know when I was working at Lupus Kitchen, there was a naturopathic doctor's
Mhm.
brand, and she made like granola cereal, sauerkraut,
Mhm.
kombucha, all different types of things. We
Mhm.
use the dehumidifier, and I really like it for a number of reasons. But that sounds like a great way to use it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We even have it to where like something like our products that we use for the pets. We have like a balm, a
Hmm.
shampoo, and like a bug repellent spray. And we use what we call like the pine tar and resin. And
Hmm.
literally our trees out there produce that. So my son will literally go out there and get the sap and stuff, and we pretty much use that stuff. So it's literally, it has great benefits.
Yes, I
Right.
love
Mhm.
that.
I
Mhm.
love what you're bringing up, Michelle, because like it is getting back to our roots and
Mhm.
it's getting back to what has already been provided for us
Exactly.
that we don't have to go out and spend $10, $20 like on products that may or may not work, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Because we have things if we're paying attention that are surrounding us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
And when I think about it, that's what this conversation is really at the heart of, offering the resources on women connected in wisdom, right?
Mhm.
It reminds me of Michelle. I shared this story of when my mom was sick,
Mhm.
and she was sick with cancer, and I got her insured because my dad had used it when he was sick, and he's still
Mhm.
with us, right? So I
Mhm.
said, this worked for him. This will help
Right.
you supplement your appetite loss. I
Mhm.
asked her what her doctor felt, and she said that they liked it. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, how am I telling you this as a psychology major, right? When you're the
Mhm.
doctor and you could have supplemented that information.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then it's the light bulb went off. Why are we waiting for other people to take care of us, right?
Mhm.
They're not always going to supplement you with all the information, like you say. So take this information from the expert, of course, but what else can we do? How can we be preventative? What else
Mhm.
is, like we're saying, right in our access that we have
Yep.
already that we can use?
Mhm.
And, I had just we were talking about the book signing in South Carolina. We had a
Okay.
great time at All Good Books. Was super
Mhm.
excited to be at the first out-of-state book signing because we have people internationally, so to finally get out of Georgia was great, right? A
Right.
great experience.
Mhm.
Overnight, I got bit by something, and
Uh
this is crazy because when I was opening the Papado, location in Lawrenceville, I was
huh.
getting bit every day for 6 months in my sleep. So
Oh.
getting bit in my sleep is, like, not light, right? So I was
Right.
like, right, Courtney's saying that's right, our medicine comes from the ground, right? So I'm like, what am I
Mhm.
gonna put on this bite right now?
Mhm.
And
Right.
so I
Right.
put rubbing alcohol, right, to clean
Mhm.
it. And then I
Right.
had these aloe ice cubes that I had been
Mhm.
using for aloe facials, and I've
Mhm.
been putting that on it. And then a
Right.
Shalo Glow ice pack and some Shalo Glow because it has aloe and shea
Uh huh.
butter,
Right.
and it's gone down in a couple of
Right.
days.
Mhm.
It was feeling like it was about to get progressively worse, but
Right.
using the natural is what
Yeah.
has thankfully sustained it, and so I don't have to go to anybody's ER or anything, um,
Exactly.
and that's how I maintain everything.
Mhm. And you know what too? You don't have to worry about all those thousands of side effects.
The side effects list is
It's
when the
like
side effects list is bigger than what you're dealing with
exactly
already.
right.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh goodness, this is crazy.
Yeah, and we wonder why we end up in a certain place emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm looking for help and then I got help, but it's taxing me in other areas,
Other exactly
so it's helping a little bit, but how much is it charging us in other areas?
right.
And being able to again not judge, but notice that, okay, well, this is
Mm-hmm.
how I feel or this is what's happening. What do I need to do with that information?
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go to get a better resource or a continued resource? Maybe
Right.
I need something in addition to what I'm using,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody on the team in addition to who I have. Like, what do we need? And coming
Mm-hmm.
from that place of being informed,
Mm-hmm.
intentional,
Right.
and paying attention to all those details is what's helped me be strategic about who I add in, so it's more effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hmm So I have a question for you, coming from nursing. Right, you said you're taking I had to step away, y'all, right? I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you for that, and I know a couple of travel nurses right now in my circle have done the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? How has it been for you as somebody who is invested in helping other people get better, saying, "You know what? Before I can do that, I have to be okay. I have to get better." Have you had any challenges with that you've had to tell yourself, like, repeatedly, "This is what you need to do"? What has your
Yeah.
journey been like?
So these last couple years, when COVID first started, I did get COVID, right? And so then I start having different heart issues, right? And so every doctor I go to, they say it's stress related, stress related. And I'm like, what am I stressing for? You know? And so just throughout this time, I just keep having this issue. And this last year, it's just like mentally, I'm drained. I feel drained. And I just talked to
Yes.
my husband and I'm like, you know what? I have to sit this out. I was
Mhm.
like, something inside of me is just like, sit out, step away for a minute, get you together. Cause you can't
Yes.
take care of anybody else if you're not good,
Mm-mm.
you know? So I had to really realize that. And I realized all these years I'm always taking care of somebody.
Yes.
And then it's like, when are you gonna take the time out for yourself? So I'm like, right now, that's what I'm doing. It's me time. I'm like,
Yes.
I have to, yeah, I still have to take care of other people, but I have to focus on me as well. So
Right.
yeah.
So as you work on your business,
Mhm.
are you what do you do to make sure that your time for yourself stays in each week? Are you writing it down? For me, it's like working out facials and like that stuff. What are you doing?
So I take my time out. I love being by water. So I'm going to the beach
Hmm.
as often as possible. And I do have this lovely lake in the back. Oh my god,
Yes.
so relaxing. So I
Mhm.
take more time out for those things. I love dancing, jump roping, running around, doing whatever. Like I'm taking those time out to just do that and just get me together. And I just literally the other day, it was just like get up in the morning, go walk.
Yeah.
And at first it was like I felt a chest tightness and stuff and this and that. But as I started walking, it started loosening up. It started loosening up. And I'm just like, dang, all I did was walk. That's all I did was walk. But it just helped so much release something inside of me.
Yes.
I
So
want to say you did one other thing besides walk, Michelle.
Mhm,
mhm,
You listened
yeah.
like
mhm.
your
Oh
body
yeah.
wanted or needed,
Yeah.
right?
That's true. Mhm.
Because we talk about in Still Point, which is the
Mhm.
first book I co-wrote, we talk about caregivers and the stress of caregivers,
Mhm.
professional and private, and their death rates, and they are
Mhm.
they're higher than the people they take care of because
Exactly.
It's
they don't
crazy.
take care of themselves.
They
And
don't.
so, thank you so much for listening to your body and
Mhm.
Yes.
hearing that you needed a pause. And
Mhm.
because we need you here. Like,
Right.
Yes.
you
Right.
are like
Right.
you rocking and rolling and
Yeah,
doing some
you are.
awesome stuff.
Yes.
And it's so easy in our
Mhm.
society, in our culture, to just keep going, going, going. And
Mhm.
Mhm.
we're losing way too many people
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're not taking care of themselves, and especially women, and especially women of color. Like, the
Yeah.
statistics are outrageous.
Oh
Say
yeah.
it, Christine.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
true. And
It's
it's like
true.
we have to have these conversations.
Exactly.
And I think not pressure each other as women also, because
Mhm.
we talk about this often at Women Connect and Wisdom, of
Yeah.
collaboration over competition,
Mhm.
right? Because when we're in that competitive mindset, which, there are times for healthy competition, but when you even think about like competition, you think about pushing, pushing, pushing,
Mhm.
always having to be number
Mhm.
one, and our bodies can't, and our nervous system can't sustain that.
Mhm.
Mm. And I also think that it's that, and then the way that we treat each other when we're talking about the competition part, right? As women, is that if I'm first, you have to be worse than me to be second, right?
Mhm.
And I have to
Mhm.
think about you a certain way for me to be okay with you being behind me or after me. When I think about it, if it's a healthy competition, right, is if that's what I'm meant to do, if my voice was created to be a podcaster, right? And you're
Mhm.
just trying to do it because you're trying to follow a trend and that's not what you're called to do, you're never gonna be first. I'm always gonna be first because this is what I was meant to do. And
Mhm.
you're trying to be in a position that you weren't called to be in. And so for competing, now that's different.
Mhm.
Right. But outside of that, if we say, hey, I just so like we had the poetry slam and Christine again came out to support and it was in Duluth. And Michelle, I am not a spoken word artist, okay? I am not good at poetically being intentional about my
Ah,
intonations, okay? So I knew I did not win, and I was
ah,
happy that Shay won because Shay deserved to win, and she's an amazing spoken word artist. Um, but just being able to collaborate and have fun, I'm proud of myself because I was able to read in the middle of Duluth, okay,
ah,
because I was able to say yes and do something for the first time, and that's what I like to do instead of a bucket list. So
ah.
it filled me up in different ways, and I was okay with losing because I was
Listen, right,
participating, you know?
right.
Yeah,
Well, listen. Next time they have that going on, let me know,
yeah,
okay? Because I
got you.
love a
Yeah,
good poetry reading. I love that.
yeah,
Um, as for me, I don't really look at competition with other people. I'm always
right.
in competition with myself. I'm hard on myself because I'm like, darn it, you're supposed to be further than what you are now. And
Mm,
that's what I really battle with. And I have to kind of sit down and tell myself, like, it's okay. You're still alive. You can still do what you need to do, you
yeah,
know? So that's
and
what I'm learning. Hmm.
And what I saw this post the other day that was really helpful, and
Hmm.
it said that you needed every version of yourself. Like you
Hmm.
then needed that version of
Right.
yourself,
Yeah.
you know? So, and Christine, you have been this year amazing at being my mirror. And well, Shannon Mitchell says we're right on time and we have everything we need and everything's gonna be okay. I'm like, I do say that a lot, don't I? So knowing that, hey, you needed that version of yourself. She might have
Yeah.
needed some work, and so does this one, and
Right.
that's okay. And
Right.
I'm who I'm supposed to be for today, and the people I talked to today. Same thing for yesterday and 5 years
Mhm.
ago, and we'll see where we are in 5 to 10 years, and it'll be
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
Michelle, when I think about that, I think about last week's guest, Diane Hillary, and then our guest and book collaborator, Dr. Cynthia Phelps, and both of them do self compassion work.
Okay.
And the studies are showing now, like from when we grew up, right? That was
Mhm.
always our mindset. Like you got it, should. And the studies are
Mhm.
really showing about the benefit of self compassion and the
Okay.
benefit of being kind to ourselves, that we actually can increase our productivity. We can increase what we're doing when we are listening to our bodies and when we're kind to ourselves and
Mhm.
we are not being harsh, that we are really treating ourselves with love and support. That's
Mhm.
how our creativity grows. That's how we grow. And that's how we can keep moving and creating and going for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Easier
It
said than done sometimes.
No, really, really. And Tahar said, "That's a bar right there, right?" Yes, yes, saying a
Hey, really
lot.
quick, Tahara is the one that made these earrings. So
Oh,
Oh,
shout out to Tahar for
Tahar. We both
right?
loved them when
yes,
she came on.
Yes, they are beautiful.
Tahar, if you have a place people can order those, drop it in the comments.
listen,
Let's give you a
love them.
shout out. Like,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I wanna go back to what we were
Wait,
talking
before
about.
you go, Shannon,
Yeah,
I
please,
want to
what's up?
describe for our listeners because
Mhm,
right now we're live and
let's
you
do
can
it.
see, but for our
Mhm,
listeners that are listening afterwards,
yeah,
Michelle is wearing these gorgeous earrings that are wire and that spell out the name of her business that
yes,
say beautiful. And
right,
so they're awesome.
yes. And they
Yeah,
stretch it from her earlobe to her shoulders,
Uh,
so if you want
right.
some vertical play, right,
Yes.
some
Yes.
design,
right.
yes.
And
And
it's Tahar at Chick Natural Life.
Yes.
Absolutely. We will put
yes,
that in our show notes too, Tahar,
Yes.
so people can reach you. That's
yes.
awesome.
Mhm.
I wanna go back to, I'm loving I'm loving the comment section today, y'all.
Right?
So, I wanna go back to the you listen to yourself.
Mhm.
Because for me, people and even over the book signing, people are like, "Shannon, your confidence is just so grounded,"
Mhm.
right? Part of it is like we talked about God and knowing that everything works for my good, right?
Mhm.
We're outside. I think about the Shalo Glows label and I look at the
Mhm.
trees and look at the birds and they're fine. They are taken
Mhm.
care of.
Yeah. Oh
They
yes.
are not worried about how fast this year is going. They're
Mhm.
not worried about none of
Exactly.
that, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, but for emotional and mental wellness, knowing that no matter what happens, whether it's race or gender or what happened, Jamie Foxx or the politics, whatever is going on, if my body tells me something or Shannon says something and I'm listening, I can trust that if I need to go outside, I'm gonna go
Mhm.
outside.
Oh
If I
yes.
need to get some water, I'm gonna
Mhm.
get Shannon some water. I'm not gonna say,
Exactly.
"You see her sitting here
Mhm.
thirsty, why you gonna"
Mhm.
So, when a lot of people I know we've talked about anxiety earlier at, this meeting we had and just how it's pervasive right now with
Mhm.
everything that's going on, and for me, that's what helps me stay centered, that I know if I have control over it, "Oh, I got me. I'm gonna trust
Mhm.
myself, I'm gonna
Right.
listen to myself." Sometimes I might say no, at first, right? Like, oh, well, no, if she said it again,
Mhm.
you might want to slow down a little bit and listen
Mhm.
before, like you said, your body sits you down. So
Mhm.
that's been huge as things transition.
Mhm. Mhm. I don't know. Something just popped in my head. I'm just going.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking how we've been. This property has been here for years, right? And we just came here a couple years ago, and we had this pecan tree. The pecan tree was dead,
Mm,
nothing going on, no nothing. So
okay.
my husband came. He loves this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he's nurturing the tree, nurturing the tree. Now all of a sudden we have pecans growing on there.
Mm,
So it just goes to show that's how we are. If we don't take care
yeah.
of ourselves, that's just how we're gonna be. Just like that dead tree, we need that nurturing for
Yes.
ourselves. You know.
Yeah.
So.
It's so important. And shout
Mm-hmm.
out to the husband with the green thumb
Listen,
and the
hey,
nurturing.
he is awesome.
Yeah.
He's
I
jack
love
of
it.
all trades. Yes.
And we talk about it. We have an episode where we talk about being like a flower, and it really reminds me of the time when I was a kitchen manager learning more about time management. I
Mhm.
was always giving my time away, helping everybody,
Mhm.
taking care of stuff. Work is going to be taken care of,
Mhm.
5 classes, 3 jobs in college. Like I'm doing stuff, right?
Right. Mhm.
And I've realized when I would start to get tight, or upset quicker or upset at my team or whatever the situation was, that was the week where, oh, you got to work early and you didn't work out this morning. Oh,
Mhm.
it's the review week at work, so there's more work and but isn't that you though? That's not
Mhm.
necessarily work, that's you giving away your time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, when we talk about being full of life and being by the water more, for me, I
Mhm.
need that in my work, or
Oh,
I'm either gonna have to completely sit down and recharge, or it's
mhm.
gonna be off.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Really.
So being more full in life so that I could be more full in my work, you know? And
Mhm.
what that looks like now with me as a business owner is intentionally scheduling social time, right?
Mhm.
I make sure that it's spaced out. So if I'm like, ooh, I need to be selling stuff this weekend, it might need to go on the next weekend. Let's see what
Mhm.
Courtney's saying. She said the pecan tree made a major comeback
It
with
did.
proper
It
care.
did.
Beautiful analogy.
It did.
And
Mhm.
that's what I want us to be well taken care of,
Mhm.
right? This is not just emotional, mental wellness so we can laugh once and dance once and be
Yeah.
like depressed and not okay the rest of the day. This is very well taken care of. Is
Mhm.
where I would love to see women on a daily basis so we can enter the rooms and the responsibilities full and overflowing and able to show up how we would like to.
Mhm.
Michelle, when you tell that story of that tree, it took me right back to Texas. I was
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
there about a week ago, and it was 105 degrees. And
Mhm.
where I grew up a little bit south of Dallas, Fort Worth, and we had these giant pecan trees that surrounded our house. And
Mhm.
I was out there about a week ago checking on the house and things
Mhm.
like that, and I was just thinking about nature and reciprocity, and like, because
Mhm.
I was feeling the breeze and the shade and just being held right
Mhm.
by these really beautiful trees. And so, thank you for bringing up that story.
Oh
It
yeah.
really just makes me like my heart, right?
Yeah.
It is just my heart.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
thinking
gonna
about it too.
raise up some of these comments. Thanks for
Yes.
the listeners today and comments, y'all. More full in life so you can be more full in your work. Love
That's right.
that.
Yes.
Right.
So good.
And then Monique Gladden says Matthew 6:26. Look at the birds of the air that they do not sow nor reap nor gather into the barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth much more each
Exactly.
day?
That's so.
Yes. Yeah. And that's crazy that that's the verse too. I think I usually pull up a different number, but that's the anniversary of Shalo Glow,
Mhm.
June 26th. So
Oh shoot. Oh,
yes, we are taken care of.
all right.
Yes. So I have one more question for you. Ooh, we have another comment. Let's see, and then I'll ask. She says, Courtney Taylor says, there is so much value in nature. So enjoying this podcast. Thank you so much. Of course, Courtney, thank you
Yes.
for being
Yes.
here and participating.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. So we have a lot of traveling nurses, right? We need
Mhm.
nurses. We need nurses who are stationary and in their home hospitals as well, right? As somebody who has experience being on those teams, how can a teammate support a traveling nurse emotionally and mentally, or even somebody that's higher up? What's something, because we have a lot of people who build teams like this, right?
Mhm.
So if you're talking to the director or somebody who's within the system, how can we increase that wellness so that we can keep some of the great people in the healthcare,
Right. Right.
okay, industry? Yes.
So my recommendation would be like just like before starting to work, do like maybe a huddle, just to kind of make sure everybody head is clear, because sometimes people come from the outside with different things that's affecting them. Then it's like,
Yes.
unfortunately, you might take it out on the people, on the inside, which you don't
Yes.
mean to, but it's just mentally you have a lot going on, but you have to come to work or you have to come do this. So I think like in those upper positions, if they would just come together and just kind of talk like, hey, how are you doing? How was your day yesterday? How was your night? How is home life? Not to be nosy or anything, but just kind of leave like an open door policy to be like, if you need to talk to me, come on in. My door's
Yes.
always open. You know.
Absolutely.
So I think if they did something like that every day, just to let people know, that would help kind of alleviate some stressors in the workplace.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I could tell you that even as a kitchen manager, I found it very useful and necessary. And when we talk about timelines, sometimes we do a great job when we're setting up systems that these are the tasks that
Mm-hmm.
needs to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at that sheet, and I love checklists, right? The
Mm-hmm.
checklist that we're marking off does not always include the people. So if
Yeah.
this person just had a situation with a pregnancy, or if two people
Mm,
who are working together are arguing, we need to
exactly.
kind of check in so we
Mm,
know how the things that we're expecting to happen are
right.
actually going to happen, and not
Mm-hmm.
expecting it to be like last Thursday when today is a lot different. That makes
Exactly.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I absolutely love that. We often talk about it with our teams, like
Yeah.
people first. Like we
Mm-hmm.
check in, we connect.
You
Like
have
that's
to.
what it's one of our major values,
You
right?
have
But
to.
I
Right.
think
Mm-hmm.
so much we're so busy, and especially
Mm-hmm.
as women, we have a to-do list that just keeps on going, right? And
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but taking that deep breath, looking at each other, checking in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's
Like
big.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like really checking in with ourselves and each other. How are we in
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
this season? Because there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
It's
So
good.
Yeah, it is.
So, yes, wisdom in action is something that we do every week. And
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about something specific to emotional and mental wellness, right? So, if you had to share one thing that you're working on, what are you doing for your wisdom in action this week, Michelle?
Oh, what am I doing? Right now I am honestly doing more praying and fasting.
Hmm.
So I'm focusing on that to really kind of tap into my inner being and see what's going on.
Yes,
So my outer side can look like everything is good, but the inner man might be broken. So I'm doing a lot of praying and fasting as far as that.
I hear you. That reminds me about wisdom in action last week. It was about listening
Mhm.
in to make sure that my authority is aligned the right way, even as I listen to my own voice.
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah,
As we're thinking about our Shannon, I want to invite our listeners today because we have a bunch of listeners here
yeah, we do.
Mhm.
to put in the comments like what
Ooh,
is your wisdom in action, and
let
we'll
us
look
know.
them up.
Yeah.
What are you working on this week for emotional and mental wellness? And
Mhm.
we love to do it in hashtags because then we can tag you on our social media. So if you want to put that in the comments, we'd love to lift it up. What
Yes.
Mhm.
about you, Shannon?
Ooh, let's see. This week for my emotional and mental wellness, I am. Let me see. Let me see. Ooh, ooh. Let me see what I want to say because I have so much stuff that we're working on. It's so good. Um, I will say because I've been thinking about this for a while. I'll say Shaylo shares
Mhm.
because we have Ready Set Glow this Saturday, right? So Michelle, my shea butter company, we've talked about it, right? We were both at Black
Mhm.
Beauty Expo. Um, has monthly events. And we had
Okay.
Glow Day for June.
Mhm.
That was our third birthday. We just celebrated last month. And so
Okay.
now we're getting in the rhythm, thank you, in the rhythm of having a monthly meetup. And we call it Ready, Set, Glow. And
Okay.
we'll talk about the products, but really it's a open table discussion just about what's been going on,
I got you.
work. And this is what
Okay.
I did to make sure I held my boundary. Or this is what I'm doing that's been adding to my self care. And
Okay.
we had a beautiful conversation. So we're doing
Okay.
that.
Well,
Yes, on
happy
Saturday at the
birthday.
retail.
Love it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Michelle, you may have to come in from the country to join us
Yeah,
for.
Listen, listen. Say less, okay? Say
got
less.
you. I will
Okay.
send it to you. And
Okay.
it's the last Saturday of every thank you, Courtney. Yes, Courtney was at Glow Day.
Well, I
Um,
think
the
Courtney
Okay.
last
is
Saturday of every month.
also doing hashtag wisdom for her.
Okay.
Uh, I think that was right.
So
She put that in.
let's see though, because this is what I've been working on too, y'all. The hashtag wisdom in action. It has to be an action step, right? So for example, one time I did like wealth is my birthright, something like that. It's not an act. It might be true, but it's not an action,
We
right?
ended. Here we go.
Okay. She says,
Courtney, wisdom in action. Go for it, Shannon.
yes. Okay, so Courtney says, hashtag wisdom in action. I am focusing on releasing the habit of perfectionism.
Oh,
I am
okay.
trying to focus on having the perfect class, being the perfect teacher, the perfect teammate, and just being, man. I hear you,
Okay.
Coach Go.
All
So
right.
I say hashtag letting go of perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how do you say this? Jamise. I believe it's Jamise. Welcome, welcome. She says setting boundaries so I'm not emotionally drained by
Drained by
others.
others.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
Setting
a
okay.
boundaries.
good
This
wisdom in
is.
action.
It's
Oh,
important.
mm-hmm.
And I am still, let me know if I'm saying this wrong in the comments, y'all. Feel free to correct me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag positive affirmations more often. Yes. That's
Mm.
hashtag I'm a money magnet, okay? The money is on the way.
Right.
Hashtag I have what I need, right? Those are some of my affirmations. I
We were
Okay.
love it.
working on the positive affirmation one on Tuesday at our Still Point class. We have a
Mhm.
class for helping professionals, and we were doing affirmations where you let a movement come out of your body, so you can
Mm,
put a movement with it too. I am
okay.
says I can create all I truly
Desire.
desire,
Yes.
and Courtney Taylor says hashtag serving others. Oof,
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah. And
There
then
we go.
Courtney Dorsey, letting go of perfection.
Okay.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think my wisdom in action this week, I loved what you said, Michelle, about huddle up. So
Mhm.
I think I'm going to hashtag huddle up because we're on
Right.
deadline for
Oh,
volume
Yeah, we are.
come
two.
on.
We've got all kinds of fun
Get it.
stuff. So I like that wisdom in action for emotional and mental wellness is huddle up
Yeah.
and check in with each
Mhm.
other as we're going for all this. So,
Okay.
That's huge.
Love it.
Yes.
right?
Coach Co, yes, she said sign up for my weekly Monday manifestation, Monday motivation affirmation newsletter. And I
Uh,
can tell you guys, this is a tool I actually use.
Mhm.
I love her Monday motivations. Really funny, really spot on, and it's a good rhythm setter, for me, knowing that I'm gonna have our Monday call with our ladies, get some info from Coach Co, and I'm ready to face the week.
right?
So how
We'll
does
put that in
somebody
the
sign
show
up for?
notes for folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Michelle?
I was just gonna say, how does somebody sign up for that stuff and
Yeah.
show up? Listen, I'm trying to be everywhere.
Yes. And
Right?
it helps.
Just let me know where.
Yes, got you.
There.
Absolutely.
Y'all, this has been such a good conversation and such
Yeah.
a good show. I hate to say that we're right at time, but
Right on
Michelle,
time,
thank
baby.
you so much for sharing your
Oh,
journey with us,
yeah.
sharing your what you're working on.
Mhm.
We will put links in the show notes to your company, to how people can find you, how
Yeah.
they can reach out to you.
Beautiful.
And Felicia says, "I am stronger than my strongest excuse."
All right.
Mm,
Love it.
I
Love
like it.
it. I thank
And
y'all
Courtney
for
said
having me.
hashtag grace.
Grace.
Like
Yeah.
a combo of those two, I think, might be a good
Hmm.
idea.
It's important.
I love
Okay.
it.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
You're
It was a
welcome.
delight.
See you soon.
So fun. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, what a good conversation. Such good
Mhm.
interaction from our listeners today. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes.
This episode is episode 123. So
Yes.
if you are just joining us on Women Connected in Wisdom, feel free to check us out where you listen to your favorite podcast and check out other experts that we have had on. And we'd love for you to like and subscribe. It really does help us. It helps to get the word out. And it's a
Yes.
great way to stay connected.
Yes. I love it. So we talked about social media, right? We've talked about the show. We also have our audiobook coming up. So if you would like to get all of our updates with everything that we have going on across our projects, you can find us on womenconnectedinwisdom.com. That will be in the show notes. And again, if you guys would like to join us for our conversation and some moisture, some mindset shifts, come out to Ready Set Glow this Saturday at 228 Auburn Avenue from 1 to 4 p.m. and we'll have a great time. Ooh, the Doula Village. We see you said, I love this podcast. Peace to you, ladies. I'll take the heart. Heart, love, and peace to you, ladies. Right back at
Right?
you. Thank you
Right
so
back
much.
at you.
Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you live next week for episode 124. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll see you soon.
Peace.